Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to episode 144 of Folks Talking Sports. I am, of course, KG Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. And with me are two of my colleagues, Miss Kennetra Pulliams. How are you doing, KP?
I'm good. Thanks, Kris.
And Willy Gibson. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, but I'm just here in old Columbus Town wanting to play a primetime season opener. That's it. I'm good though.
Yeah, and we're going to do that. And it's great. And Justin, welcome, Justin. I missed you on last Sunday's show. We talked about Caitlin Clark last Sunday, brother, on episode 143, as you asked for. But Miss Pulliams is a Texas Longhorn alum. Mr. Gibson is an alum of the Ohio State University. Last few days, there's been some talk, discussion, back and forth regarding the matchup between the Longhorns and Buckeyes in football. The Buckeyes wanted the game to be moved from Saturday to Sunday evening. Chris Del Conte, AD of Texas, VP of Athletics, whatever the long title is now for ADs, said, no, we don't want that. First question to you, Mr. Gibson. Kennetra and I were discussing this and weren't sure of it. Why does Ohio State want to move the game, or did they want to move the game in the first place?
Well, it's the thing with Fox. Fox is a business partner, television partner of the Big Ten, and Ohio State, I believe, last year played 7 big noon kickoffs, and the fanfare of a primetime game here in Columbus is the suspense, the build up to the game. The noon kick. It's kind of like wash, rinse, repeat here. So it was opportunity to be. Have recruits here on site. I mean, that's going to happen anyway. But the specter of a primetime game is unique, and so just to get out of the doldrums of a noon kickoff, which happens quite frequently, and it's a big game. It's a big game. So, but for reasons known, well, what the reasons we heard here was they wanted the extra day to prepare for the week after opponent, which is San Jose State.
Kennetra, from a Longhorn perspective, what is your perspective? What is your answers to this back and forth?
I think it's much ado about nothing. It's the same way that, Fox prides itself on its big noon kick. That's like kind of their brand. So like to them, it's just as marquee having a game at noon Eastern as it is as having prime time. One team that complains a lot about having the early start is Oklahoma. They had just as many last season. So, I don't think it's earth shattering. It's like, okay.
I have a question. Do we know the return trip to Austin next year? Do we have an idea when that's in September as well? Do you know an idea of when the game will be played time wise? No. They typically play in the evenings because of weather.
No, they don't.
No. Oh,
no.
Yeah.
No.
Got
it. They play all times a day.
Got it.
Yeah, well, Longhorn fans, supporters, they're different than my alma mater. They don't mind the heat and the humidity.
Red River Rivalry will always be a day game.
Got it.
Whatever, 2:30, 7 o'clock, they'll be there Friday night. My alums, 2:30. Oh, it's too hot. 5 o'clock. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, 11 o'clock. Oh, no, it's way too hot. Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, we're playing Texas. Okay, I'll be there. Whatever. Yeah. And joining us is Kim Davis. How you doing, sis?
I'm good. How are you? Hello, everybody.
Hello.
And want to say this again, Miss Wanda. Thank you for joining the conversation. as well. KD, from your perspective, Ohio State, Texas. Oh, by the way, Will, what is the date of the game?
August 30th.
August 30th, 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern on Big Fox.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right. Corey loves this discussion. Have it here. See, Corey, this is for you. Ohio State, Texas. Kim, your perspective. The Buckeyes wanted to move the game from Saturday, noon Eastern, to Sunday. What was it, Will? 7 Eastern or 7 Central?
I believe it was 7:30 Eastern.
Okay. Kris Del Conte said no. His issue was he did not want to move the game to a different day. If they're going to move it time-wise, right? Isn't that what he said, Will?
Yes.
His reason, excuse, depending on your perspective, he preferred moving it to Saturday evening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Kim, what do you think? Who do you side with, or do you care?
Yeah, I don't really care, but
Basically.
and KD, for those who don't know, you're an alum of who?
well, that's not why I'm alum of Texas A&M University. But yeah, I don't really care. But I think move it on the same day. It should be on Saturday. If you need to move it, I don't think you should move it to a Sunday. But and his reason for moving it is because why they want to move it.
Yeah, well, why they want to move to Sunday night?
Well, the prime time, though, the thing is, the Saturday night prime time game is already Notre Dame, Miami. So the rationale moving it to Sunday would be a standalone game versus having to compete with all of the other games on Saturday at noon and then compete with Notre Dame, Miami on Saturday night.
Because there's no NFL
Right.
weekend, right?
Correct.
But I mean, is that game that big where it needs to have its own private audience on a Sunday? I mean, I don't see it.
And Will, this was no. Was this from Ohio State or Fox?
No, it was Ross Bjork. It was definitely. Well, here's the thing. Ross Bjork, his thing is marketing. I mean, Ohio State had 7 noon kickoffs last year, so he's been talking to Fox this entire time about, but from the Fox perspective, Ohio State is the straw that stirs the drink. They're the marquee school in the Big Ten. They bring the ratings, so of course they're going to put Ohio State in the big noon kickoff window as much as possible. His rationale is let's move us around, and they can't play night games in November. Ohio State and Michigan are the only 2 Big Ten schools who have it in the contract that they cannot play night games in November. So, at a marquee matchup in September, he thought the opportunity was right to bring it to prime time, but he wasn't successful.
Would the numbers be drastically different because Ohio State is a brand in college football? Would the numbers be really diminishing if it moved to 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern?
On Saturday?
Yeah.
I don't know again, that's a Fox window. I mean, I don't know if Fox was willing to move it to that. And I don't know.
That window, that 2:30 window, is South Dakota, Iowa State on Fox.
Well, that's not a tough decision for me. If I'm Fox,
right.
I want Texas Ohio State at 2:30.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they want Ohio State at noon. That's their window. Ohio State, they want Joe Klatt and Gus Johnson at noon. So
yeah,
but
so
more
so
Buckeyes
the other games in that early window: Florida Atlantic at Maryland, Ball State at Purdue, Northwestern at Tulane, Duquesne at Pitt, VMI at Navy, Merrimack at Kent State.
Yep. That's why they don't want to put Ohio State in any other window outside of the big noon kickoff.
Right.
I mean, I could understand it, but the matchup, I mean, it's two, like Corey says here, it's 2 of the biggest brands in football, college football. I don't think it'd make a difference if it was at noon or 2:30 or 5 o'clock.
Right.
Folks are going to watch that game.
Yeah.
And to the Texas played at Michigan Stadium last year, and it was a big noon kickoff. So there's that.
But, Will, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
A lot of Buckeye fans, supporters, alums, friends of the program
Mhm.
have grown tired of noon kickoffs. At least so
Absolutely.
many noon kickoffs, right?
That absolutely correct.
Has the schedule been announced in terms of the kickoff times for the games this year for the Buckeyes?
The first 4.
Yeah.
And how many of those are noon kickoffs?
So far, 2. There's
Okay,
well, here's the
2.
thing. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's Texas at noon, big noon kickoff. September 6th is Grambling comes to Ohio State. It's a 3:30 kick. Then then you have week 3 is Ohio University, and that's a night game at 7. So they're trolling. They put Ohio State versus Ohio University at 7 p.m. on Peacock. And then the last game of the season versus the rival, is a noon kick on Fox.
Well, that's always a noon.
That's always right.
So that's not going to change.
Right.
Is the game against Grambling? What is it on? Who's airing that?
Big Ten Network.
Okay, so I was trying to see if Grambling was going to get any shine on Fox. I was just curious.
Yeah.
They're getting a check. So that's all that matters to the G-men. But
yep.
All right. Well, all right. I want to give a shout out to a newcomer to this show, JK Memes. Thank you very much. Your basketball NBA person. We're going to talk basketball, NBA Finals momentarily on this edition of Folks Talking Sports. But as the title suggests, we talk sports. So that includes football, basketball. Last week, it was even some baseball, which stunned Kim that I brought up baseball.
Yeah. I mean, I like it, but
that's what I'm watching right now.
Won't be a regular occurrence for me. You know, if y'all want to talk about Astros or Rangers or Yankees, whatever.
We have talked about
mute my mic and I'll just go away. But so I just wanted to get the noon kickoff, Ohio State, Texas, this part of the discussion. So JK Memes, this is for you. Let me do this part. Add Kim to this window. All right. The NBA Finals matchup is set. Here's the schedule. Starts Thursday. Indiana Pacers at OKC. Game 1 Thursday. All games on ABC. Game 2 Sunday. Then game 3 Wednesday. Game 4 Friday. Game 5 Monday, June 16th, if necessary. Game 6 Thursday, June 19th. And then game 7, if necessary, June 22nd on Sunday. Family, colleagues. How many games will it go?
Hey, can I say something before we get to that?
Sure.
I have a question. Since this is the end of the TNT era of covering, NBA basketball, is anybody sad to see that group go? I mean, I thought that show was one of the best shows. I mean, I'm not sad to see it go. I thought they did a really good job.
I mean, it's going from TNT.
TNT.
Yeah, I mean, because it's going to be on ABC, because it's being sub-licensed. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. But, it was also produced by them, and we all know that the production of it matters. And I don't know how many of those folks, we know the faces are going over, but we don't know how much of the crew is going over. So, yeah, I agree with Mike. It's going to be a little different version of it with ABC than it was in TNT for sure.
Definitely.
But KP, you were nodding your head in agreement, asking you that you were going to miss it. Just your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, just, because of course it's a different iteration.
Yeah.
As Kim said, yes, the same faces, but knowing that the parent company is Disney, some of the liberties that they took on TNT may not fly when Disney's your parent company.
Right.
That's why it got 7-second delays. Will?
I had that already.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Charles Barkley on Disney is going to be real interesting.
But I didn't watch it. I barely watched it. I hardly watched it. You know,
Because
I watch it when I watch the games.
and I'm the opposite. I watched the game if I was at home. Either I was at a game, pro or college. So by the time I got home, I wasn't messing with them. So I didn't miss it at all. I watched a handful of times over, what is it, 25 years, whatever it is. So whatever, go to ABC, I won't watch it there.
Are you going to watch Michael Jordan on NBC?
Now you know.
No,
You know, hell. Michael Jordan, no. Will knows, hell no. I didn't watch The Last Dance.
NBC. I mean, I've been around
No.
long enough to remember
No.
the NBC broadcast. I'm not talking him. I'm saying the NBC. I mean, I come from the TV world, so when I talk about the broadcast and the production of it, I really did like the way NBC used to carry NBA games. And so some of those people are gone. Like I knew some of the directors, because it's been so many years. But NBC did a really good job before they lost the contract. So I'll be curious to see how it looks coming back when they come back around. So yeah.
And I forgot who said it, but I know Mike has agreed to a deal with NBC. I doubt he's on there a handful of times the whole year. That's because of who he is, kind of dude he is. He won't be in studio very much. I'm not expecting him to be there. He won't be a regular.
Yeah, I
Did
can't
they
even
bring
imagine
Ahmad
his input.
Rashad back?
Ahmad Rashad, that's a name I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Mentioned at all in terms of people they're talking to for coverage of the games. Will,
Yep.
What say you, brother?
As far as NBC, I'm interested. I mean, I'm interested to see how they would work out with what Carmelo Anthony is a studio guest. I know they're bringing Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller over, so
Yep.
kind of similar, as you said, the faces, but the production, how will that flow? But I mean, I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see. I mean, as Kim said, they did a great job, and in their previous opportunities. But more than that, I'm interested to see what Amazon does, because I see what they've done with the NFL. So I'm kind of interested to see how their coverage of the NBA would be.
I don't like Amazon as an option because the broadcasts don't look good to me. They're not clean.
Yep.
And so I don't watch a lot of Thursday night football because I kind of hate the Amazon broadcast. Not from their talent, but just the stream isn't clean, and I don't want to watch that. So,
like, you shouldn't have to work that hard to be entertained.
Right. I don't. So,
Mike Padden gives us the names of the crew here. That's going to be on Amazon. Taylor Rooks, Dirk Nowitzki, Steve Nash, Blake Griffin.
It's an interesting crew.
Yeah,
it is. I'm not going to watch that either. So,
Right.
Yeah.
It might be few and far between.
Yeah, I'm not. Kim is. She comes from the TV world. She's been on TV and all those things with shows. So her perspective is different than mine. I'm just not a pregame, postgame person. I watch the game, I move on.
Right.
So Mike said he's definitely watching. So Mike, tell us about it. When the season starts, you chime in and ask you your thoughts on what you saw and everything. But other than that, you can be the contributing analyst for Folk Talkin Sports about the Amazon shows during basketball season. So whatever, But shifting back to the NBA Finals matchup, Pacers, OKC, who you got and why? Will, you first.
Spurs in 6.
Say that again.
Who?
Pacers in 6.
Oh,
wow.
Pacers in 6.
And why do you say that, sir?
Because I know everybody else is going to pick OKC.
So you just want to be different, or there's reasons behind?
No. I really do. I really think. I mean, Indiana from round one. I mean, how they dispatched Milwaukee. Saw firsthand what they did to Cleveland. What they just did to the Knicks. I think, and what's being undersold here is Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle's a championship coach,
right?
So he's done this.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that aspect isn't being played up enough. So I just think Indiana in 6. I think it's going to be a great series. Don't get me wrong.
I hope so.
OKC's not going to roll over, but I'm picking Indiana.
Kim?
So I'm picking OKC. I hope it is a good series, just so we get to see some good basketball. But I just think that what OKC has, especially what they do defensively, I think the pace that the Pacers play with is not going to be an issue for them. I mean, they can run with them. I think the defense is going to be a challenge for the Pacers, and I like that team. They went probably further than some people thought they should have with Denver, but they kind of got back to themselves in that Minnesota series, and you see what they have. SGA is a real deal, and then you get Chet. I mean, they've got a lot of weapons, and so does Indiana. I mean, I thought the Indiana, obviously won the series with the Knicks. I think the Knicks did some things to shoot themselves in the foot, and maybe they just, from a talent perspective, didn't have enough, or clearly Thibodeau didn't want to use enough. You know what I mean, in terms of going to his bench. And but yeah, I'm going to go with OKC.
Kennetra?
I think OKC is going to win. I want the Pacers to win.
Why? Both answers, both statements.
I like the collection of players. I like the team that the Thunder have. But I want the Pacers to win because of Miles Turner.
Yeah.
That Longhorn tie.
Right.
So I could piggyback off that and use the similar rationale. I want the Pacers to win because, as Ms. Wanda said here, because of Jarris Walker.
Yeah.
He's a Coug. Haven't heard an update on Jarris' injury. It looked bad last night.
It did look bad.
He rolled his ankle. Looked like he broke it, like he fractured a bone in there. But also picked the Pacers because they're from the Eastern Conference. I ride with the East. I'm a Detroit Pistons fan, ride or die. Been that way for 30. Oh, no. What is it now? 86, 39 years. So that's not going to change. I think turnovers, either way, game to game, whichever team wins the turnover battle will win the series.
Yeah.
OKC thrives on it. The Pacers do too. The Pacers have gotten this far because their defense got better. And they started scoring off the turnovers that they forced. Yeah, they were playing with pace, but for a while early in the season, all they were doing was outscoring folks. Around February or so, Coach Carlisle, who's coached the Detroit Pistons too, so there's a Piston tie there as well, convinced the players, or the staff convinced the players, fellas, we want to win it all. We got to play defense. We got to get after. We got to pressure the ball 90 feet. So they started doing that, buying into it. And you can force your opponent into turnovers. You can score easy buckets. Both these teams do a great job of scoring easy baskets off the turnovers that they force. And no team likes to just grind it out, pound it out, and score in a half court all the time. So you can score easy baskets. That's going to benefit whoever. So I think that's going to be a key. But my answer, I'm going to pick OKC, but I want the Pacers to win. But I'm going to surprise some folks. I'm going to say OKC in 7. I think it's going to go the full ride. I like the fact both teams have the way they've constructed their rosters.
Yeah.
Both have young superstars.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tyrese Halliburton kind of learned some things between Game 5 and Game 6. He has to be that dude for the Pacers from the jump and not cruise through a game, playing half speed. They need him to be that man from Game 1, jump ball. If he does that, I think it's going to go the distance. If he half steps and waits too long, OKC is going to just take advantage of that and crush them. But I like Halliburton. I like the makeup of that team. Miles Turner.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam. Nembhard, Neesmith, Toppin. They got guys. They can go 9, 10 deep too. Both these teams and coaches use their bench. They're not afraid to go 9, 10. I mean, I think Coach Carlisle went 11, played 11 guys in the first half sometimes in the playoffs. That's rare in the playoffs. I think all of us have covered the NBA long enough. We've heard for years that the roster shrink in the postseason and teams only play 7 or 8 players in the playoffs. And my thing has always been, if you played 11 in the regular season, why are you going to shrink it down to 7 or 8 in the playoffs?
Agree.
That's what got you this far. So I'm going to stick with what got me this far. So salute to the guys for doing that, sticking what's true to you. So I hope it goes a long series. I know a lot of folks are picking OKC to steamroll the Pacers, and it's not going to be close. It's not going to matter who comes out of the East and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. But some of those same media people, y'all, I'm sure y'all noticed it. After the Knicks won Game 5, some of those same folks, the Knicks showed something to the Pacers. The Pacers should be worried now. The Knicks have righted the ship. They're going to go in there and win Game 6. Oh, come on, people. Some folks in the media, I just shake my head. I mean, y'all so desperate for a storyline that you just forget what you saw and just try to make people read the stories without any rational thought. Is that what you're doing? Is that what I'm missing here?
Pretty much.
Chris, you've been around too long to not understand the bias of whenever there's a New York team.
Big market.
I mean, it's New York. All the networks are based there. All the biggest publications have headquarters there. I mean, it's always been that way,
Look who was sitting courtside at the Garden versus at the Fieldhouse.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's all about ratings.
And to that point, both these teams have young stars.
Yeah.
Got an MVP in Shea,
Mm-hmm.
an all-league player in Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
They have other good to great young players, but they're small market teams.
Mm-hmm.
So the ratings probably won't be very good. And to those folks who, Justin, you know about this, to my Rocket folks who are conspiracy theorists about the NBA fixed the lottery or the NBA does this and it's all that. And my answer to them is, why haven't the Knicks won a championship in 50 years or whatever it is? Or why haven't the Knicks, made it to the NBA finals in 30 years? Watch the series. Watch the talent. I know people aren't going to watch, a lot of folks, because there's no LeBron, there's no Steph, there's no whoever. But both these teams have bright superstar talent that could be good for years to come. What do you think?
Absolutely. And now the NBA has to get back to work, right? We talk about who's going to be the face of the league. This is where they have to get back to really marketing the league probably a little differently, in terms of being able to rest on, for so many years you had the LeBron or the Steph or but now it's time to really market the league kind of as a whole. And they've got to find a way, it's their job, not mine, but to talk about the fact that this is, that there has not been like a back-to-back champion in I forget how many years now. And
be 7. After this one, be 7 in a row.
7 in a row, right? And so maybe there's some parity, and that's a good thing for the league. And to be able to talk about and highlight some of these other cities, that's what they have to do as a conference, as the association. They've got to do that because there's good basketball in other places, and you just can't hope for it to be a LA team and a New York team all the time to be able to give you ratings. You got to have a product, and you got to know how to talk about your product. So, I'm glad it's these teams. I'd like to see OKC win it just because I like how they've built it. I like what Indiana's done in terms of how they've built it as well. But this is where the commissioners and those people in the front office have to earn their money now.
Mm-hmm.
Willie, what do you say?
I'll be interested. I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit. I'm interested to see what OKC does this offseason because you know the longevity or how long can they keep this together because Chet Holmgren's extension eligible. I think Lou Dort is extension or Jalen Williams is extension eligible. Shea just won the MVP, so now he's due for a super duper max. So you know the bill is gonna be coming due real quick on OKC. And yes, we see Sam Presti do this before. We've seen him, you know, build teams from scratch. They have a pick just outside the lottery this year, the the last pick of the Paul George draft, but or the Paul George trade rather. But I think they have 15 and 24. So yes, they can rebuild the team, but just how are they? How much are they going to be able to hold this team together? Is what I'm interested in seeing going forward. So,
and I mean, they're already. You know, it's nice to see, as you said, Kim. You know, about the intentionality of marketing. It's nice to see the Thunder, you know, have a commercial that's in heavy rotation.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, so you get to see a different side of them, you know, off the court. So like that's a good thing, you know, that we've seen kind of throughout even the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's see if there's more of that to come.
And two points from Mike, and I want to get back to Justin's comment as well about Charles and Kenny in the college games. So hold that thought. But the league wanted parity. They're getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the CBA is designed is producing the parity. But to Kim and KP's point, Willie agrees too, I'm sure. The league does a piss poor job of marketing the other teams that aren't Steph and LeBron and, you know, the Lakers, Luka. You got great players in this league on a lot of teams that aren't in New York, that aren't in the Bay. You have parity, promote it better, market it better. But also, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. If the league would do a better job marketing, perhaps the ratings would be better for the non-Steph games, the non-LeBron games, because you have introduced fans to Shea, to Chet, to Halliburton. Hell, it didn't do a great job promoting the Knicks, you know, to Jalen Brunson. Those other teams are very good teams. I'm kind of curious, knocking on wood here going forward next season, how many national games will Detroit get? With Cade Cunningham being all NBA and with the East being wide open with the injuries and who knows what's going to happen in Milwaukee and Boston probably going to have some transition in what they're going to do personnel-wise. The Cavs aren't going anywhere. The Pacers are going to have a bright future, whether they win the title this month or not. So there are young teams, talented teams in the East, but all I hear is the West is so dominant that the East ain't crap. The East can't do anything. You know, it's OKC, it's Denver, and I'm like, Golden State is old. The Lakers are old. So how many other teams in the West are there that you keep pumping up the Lakers and the Warriors? How many games will the Rockets get on national TV next season? The 2 seed in the West. Got bright talent. You got to promote your other teams that aren't in LA in California for folks to know about them. I'm done now. Anyone want to chime in?
Hey, how did you think your guy Bickerstaff did on some? You don't watch the analyst stuff, right? Did you see him at all? Okay.
I glanced at it, and that's all. I forgot about it, honestly. That he was doing this. I don't know how he did.
Okay. I thought you did a good job. I don't know why I'm asking you. I just remember you don't like to watch any of those things. But since you're a Detroit fan, I wondered what you thought about how he how he handled that role.
What's your thought on how he did?
I think he did a good job.
Mike Malone, who's better, JB or Mike Malone?
Different. Maybe JB.
Okay, and of course, I know JB since his time with the Rockets too. So
right, exactly.
It's good, and Mike says, "See, this is the thing. The East is still the JV, but the NBA marketing capital is in New York. Mm-hmm. So if the East is still the JV, aren't the Knicks in the East? So make it make sense to me. If you got the marquee team, or one of them is in New York, then why is everyone talking about the West is this, the West is that? 7 different teams are going to win the championship the last 7 years. Has been a back-to-back team. The Warriors, I love that an ESPN article wrote that OKC could be the next dynasty in the NBA, and a similarity between them and the Warriors on some of the stuff was really kind of eerie. How some of the things were similarity-wise, but injuries happen in sports. Wemby is healthy. He ain't going anywhere. Okay, so you got to deal with him. The Rockets make the right moves, might have to deal with the Rockets. If Minnesota figures a way out to improve and give Ant some help, they're not going anywhere. So, I enjoy salute. Oh, and they got, as Mike put it, I love how he put it too, they got 50-11 picks for the next 20 years.
Right.
So they have ways to improve the roster, but it's going to be difficult for them to maintain the roster salary-wise because of the aprons and all those things. So it's going to be difficult for a team to build a dynasty, to win 3 titles in back-to-back first, and then 3 and 5 years, or 4 and 6 years, or the Spurs doing it 5 and 10 years, whatever, things like that. So it's going to be difficult, but this is what the NBA wanted. They wanted parity. So they got it. CA37 asked this question: is Sam Presti the best GM in the league? If he's not, it's a short list. If he's not,
and because he's done it for so long, right? He's been able to do it for so long, and to build from, obviously he's done some things with free agents, but build from the draft. I mean, I think he's, off the top of my head, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
I think Tim Connelly, Minnesota, has a chance to, but Presti's got so many draft picks and accumulated so much talent, and they're young talent. Even though Shea's been in the league 7 seasons now, he's still a youngster, chronologically. They got a bright future. Looking forward to them and see what they're going to do. And if they do win the title, how will they respond next season? Because some teams, not every team handles success well. Some teams get jealous. Some teams get petty. I want more shine. Somebody's external factors start creeping into the ears. You need to be giving more minutes to him, man. Or you need to watch more touches than him.
Got to watch that uncle.
All that kind of stuff,
And think about it. He's done it in OKC, which is not some great market that people are just dying to go live in Oklahoma City.
Oh, true.
It's it's like, oh yeah, and it's Oklahoma City. It's a smaller market. It's in Oklahoma. It's not even, I mean, you can get there, but it's not a hub for any place. I mean, he has made it attractive to the right people, but he's built it from within. When you talk about it, I was talking about him. We were talking about it on something I did last week in talking about the job he's done and he continues to do. Doing a good job.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Just curious. Are we past the point of wondering what the people in Seattle are thinking?
In what
sense?
Sense?
About letting them go?
About OKC. Yeah.
I forgot about them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the talk now about the people in Seattle is, when is NBA finally going to bring a team back? That's the discussion now, rather than OKC leaving us and the ownership leaving us, and they hate ownership and that, because what is it? It's really been like 3 or 4 years that talk around the NBA returning to Seattle, and now the can is keep being kicked down the road.
Yep.
Like, when is it going to happen?
It's tough when you lose a team.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tougher when you lose one to get it back than you just trying to get in the mix. Yep. It's a great question, Willie. Kind of forgot about Seattle.
All right, before we get back to the questions, I'm going to shift gears, have some Big 12 / private equity discussion, and play. First clip is from Brett Yormark, commissioner of the Big 12. And Kennetra and I, all of us, I'm going to take it 2 different angles, 2 different directions. But this first clip is from Friday's spring meetings in Florida. I think it was Orlando, Florida. And Commissioner Yormark was asked, first question, they increased the volume eventually for the question. The setup, Kim, was really bad by the conference. That's another story. Was, Commissioner, what are your thoughts on you decided not to go pursue the private equity route for the Big 12? And then the commissioner also gives some more information about the media partners for the conference. And he said something then that I'm trying to confirm, and I'll explain that afterwards. Here we go. Brett Yormark, Friday Big 12 media session.
You mentioned this, I think it was in the last football media days last year, that the possibility of private equity funding maybe going for the conference. And I think you mentioned something earlier this week about it. What's been that thought on the idea of having that influx or not having that influx from the conference?
Well, I gave a statement yesterday. We certainly went through the exercise, as we should, doing our due diligence, and it was very appropriate. At this point in time, we're putting it on pause. We understand what's out there at the capital markets. We know it very well. Our model was, though, very different. It was more of a bespoke model, custom tailored to the potential needs of the conference, getting some strategic expertise and areas to grow the conference, but at the same time, potentially having a capital resource. But at this point in time, we decided to press pause. There's a lot of things going on, as we all know, in the industry that we need to focus on.
What is ESPN and Fox going to do to increase visibility in marquee television windows with this new 6-year media rights? What changes in terms of the inventory window?
Great question. We have great media partners, obviously with ESPN and Fox, and then they've sub-licensed some of our content to TNT, CBS, and NBC. So really in our family now, we have 5 of the biggest distribution partners that exist in collegiate sports. Which gives us an advantage to elevate and amplify our brand, to do more storytelling. When you think about the windows and being on broadcast television, because right now that's the widest reaching platform to be on. In our first 3 weeks, 11 of the games from Fox, 9 are on Big Fox. We're also featured on ESPN1 quite a bit in those first 3 weeks. So I'm very confident that our TV partners will continue to put us in the right TV windows. So we can elevate and amplify what we do and tell the great stories around our student athletes and our conference. That being said, you've seen that we're moving a couple of games more so than we have in the past to Friday nights because there's clear air there. Got a couple of games on Thursday nights, and we will continue to work with the board and the ADs on whether there are other windows that we can exploit with our TV partners. They're not just disruptive to our campuses, but enhance, the viewership opportunities for our school.
All right, no to private equity. Well, excuse me. Pushing pause to private equity first. Kennetra, your thoughts on that?
I was just distracted by the quality of the video.
It was hard, wasn't it?
I could not pay it.
That's from the conference.
That's what I'm saying. Why is there no mult box? Why are there all the TV stations with their mic cubes on the table? Why is his audio off a shotgun mic? Why is there like so much look space to his left when he's looking up?
Why is he not
I'm
centered?
not even paying attention.
Yeah.
And I zoomed in to get it like that because it was worse than that.
And the head and the headroom.
Oh yeah.
I was just, and it was the video was soft. I'm like, do better.
It's the Big 12, right? That's what.
Yep.
Yeah, and
so
even
if
you
conference, like who's in your communications department? Like, could you not have a centralized camera? You knew it is your conference spring meetings. Have a camera front and center, and then let everyone else stand out around. Like,
and while even though if you say, well, you guys in the industry look at it differently. No, people at home, they're distracted too.
Yep.
People are they may not articulate it the same way. But it's distracting, and so no one's really listening to you because we're like, why is it over here?
You're having to lean. Like, what is he saying?
Why are they looking this way? What's he saying? Who's he talking?
Why is it hollow?
Yeah.
All legit, but no private equity. I'm gonna get to that too. Trust me, I'm gonna get to all what you just said, but no to private equity. Anyone
pick your battles.
Yeah.
Like they're a thing, like they're still waiting on what this house settlement's going to look like. So it's kind of hard to make conference decisions when you're just like, wait, you're trying to tread water right now. You can't like move forward till you know what it is going to be. And you don't know. Or when. This settlement was supposed to happen in April.
Right.
It's now June.
If the judge didn't like some things, asked him to grandfather in the roster cut players who are getting cut, and send it back to the lawyers, and they took them a while to make their changes, and they send it back to the judge, and so we're waiting on the judge to make her final ruling on it. But the commissioner said, and I went back and did this because, and I'll put up the slide as well in a second. But Kim and KD are right on point with what we saw there from the conference. And Kennetra said it. I said it. I've said it many times. Do better, Big 12. You got to do better. It didn't start on time. They were like 45 minutes late first. And then you see what they gave us. That was Friday. Wednesday session with Coach Sampson and Coach Self and the two coaches from women's basketball and Coach Thornton was worse. You couldn't hear the questions asked at all. It's just supposedly being a power conference. They don't look like it. They don't act like it. In terms of
like your conference basketball tournament, you have a moderator.
Mm-hmm.
You also have mic holders.
Mm-hmm.
Raise your hand. They pass the mic, identify yourself and your outlet, ask your question. So you can hear the question clearly. Who is it directed to? They can respond. Like, why is the spring meeting less quality, like poorer quality than you have at your conference basketball tournament?
Yep, that was from a Zoom. And they finally sent the Zoom to the media late in the evening. And it goes to one of my big gripes with the conference is how they don't do a great job with the technology that they do have. They don't have a linear network. We all know that. So they don't have a Big Ten network. They don't have the SEC network. They don't have the ACC network. But they do have a YouTube channel. They do have a FAST channel on platforms like Roku. The FAST channel, as Will discovered doing a live FTS last year, he had to find it because initially when he typed Big 12, it did not come up. Is that right, Will?
That's right.
Right. So the name of it is Inside the Big 12 or Inside, whatever it was.
Yeah,
He finally found it. So that should not be. But the majority of the content on that channel is game replays. 24/7. Game replays. Come on, folks. Their technology, digital cameras, platforms, stringers, y'all can produce daily content for your conference, especially during football and basketball season. They should have had someone with a handheld camera there in Orlando at the meetings, recording it, putting it on their FAST channel, putting it on their YouTube channel. It's a bad look. I know of 2 schools that were there in person. BYU media was there and UCF media was there. They recorded, and their quality of their production on their YouTube channels is way better than what I just showed you. That's BYU and UCF, member schools. You're the Big 12.
But again, BYU has their own channel.
Yes. So I just so I have heard that that the league knows that they need to provide more content, and it is being discussed to provide more content. Hopefully, they've kind of kicked the can on that one too, because it's been at least a month. Because a colleague that Kim and I know personally is involved in those discussions to maybe work with the conference and that new content provider. And Kim, I'll tell you later on. And I'll be happy. Mike, you stand behind me, Mike, because I'll be part of that too. Hire me to be part of this channel. They could work with the outlets that cover the member schools specifically, that do shows like Les Rage Cougs, like the Houston Roundball Review Media Group, like BYU, like John Kurtz at Kansas State, and other schools have their own content producers. Work with us to provide you content for your platform with better quality once you just put out there for your spring meeting.
But about, the context of what he said. Me personally, I don't like college football games on Fridays. To me, that's high school football.
Mm-hmm.
So like him bragging about, we're looking at, to me, for that Friday is for high school.
Kim?
Yeah, I agree.
Will?
Same. I heard a couple other things in that kind of struck me. Not related to the question of private equity, but he mentioned, and I heard you say it earlier, he mentioned Big Fox. I hadn't heard that before. I kind of like Big Fox.
Or ESPN One.
Yeah, right. I'm
Right.
isn't it just Fox?
Yeah.
Like,
And it's just ESPN or ESPN.
Right.
2. There's no ESPN 1.
Yeah, that threw me off. Like, wait a minute. Like, and then it reminded me, he mentioned the Big 12 package with ESPN, and we talked about Inside the NBA earlier. That was the trade.
Right.
TNT traded the license inside the NBA to ESPN in exchange for the Big 12 football package license. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. That is right. So that's kind of what I know it's not related to private equity, the question you asked, but those are the Big Fox kind of was like, oh, okay.
It was distracting in so many ways, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, no pause on big equity. Okay. I mean, on private equity. Yeah.
And he said another thing that struck me, related to this sub-licensing. He mentioned 5 networks. He mentioned, of course, ESPN and Fox, in that sub-licensing to TNT, CBS, and he said NBC. Heard nothing about a deal with NBC. I reached out to colleagues who were there in Orlando. They know nothing about anything with the Big 12 and NBC. So I put in a word to someone in the conference office. I'm waiting to hear back from them about it, because the way I worded it is there's something forthcoming that we don't know about yet that is involving NBC, because Fox has sub-licensed sometimes to NBC, but that has not happened yet. That has not been announced yet. But he said NBC, and then he mentioned 5 linear platforms, linear partners.
Mhm.
All I know about is 4. So he misspoke on something else during the presser that I won't get into, but I got an answer on that one. He spoke too soon about that one. He said something publicly that shouldn't have been said yet. Okay, that's how it was told to me today by someone related to the Big 12. So, but Justin, that's what I wanted to read. Justin, regarding
there's an article in Sports Illustrated that was published yesterday. Big 12 football games will be featured on new networks in 2025. The conference enters a new broadcast rights deal with ESPN and Fox beginning in 2025 college football season. Part of that deal includes ESPN and Fox that they can sub-license games to TNT, NBC, and CBS.
That writer just pulled a quote from the press conference. I know that because I asked that same person, what is the NBC part of it? I don't know. So no one knows about the NBC part of it yet. Now, again, he could have spoke too soon. It might be an announcement forthcoming like this week. Who knows? But colleagues don't know so far about the NBC part for the Big 12. Football, basketball, as Will said, 13 football games that would.
NBC is an optional outlet.
That's not what he said. But 13 football games that would have been on ESPN Plus will now be on Turner Sports. And 10 of those 13 will be Big 12 conference games. The other 3 are the first 3 weeks of the season. And I think the best one is maybe of the 3 is like Hawaii at Arizona State. The other 2 are like
Arizona State at Texas State.
Yeah.
Texas Tech hosting Kent State.
Yeah.
Really?
So that's what
that game will kick off at 10 a.m. Mountain Time.
So those games, those are games that were slated for ESPN Plus. That's what TNT is getting. Now, the Big 12 also partnered or announced a deal with men's basketball games. There are going to be 20 more games, men's games, men's games that would have aired on ESPN Plus will be on CBS Sports. So a total of 26 games will now be part of CBS umbrella. But that's Big 12 men's group.
So they're now like the A10.
So, but as Commissioner spun it, it's another platform, CBS linear, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's his job to spin it as a positive. It's our job to dive into the details and give you more specifics. And that's what we do here on all of our media outlets here on Folks Talking Sports, Will Knows, Kim's platform, Talk, all those things. But if I get a definitive answer regarding NBC, I'm going to mention it here on YouTube on the Houston Roundball Review because I'm curious. Because I heard when he said 5, I was like 5. NBC, right. What? And like I said, so far, none of my other colleagues. Oh yeah, he was talking about this. My first contact said, "I think he misspoke, Kris. I think it's just 4."
Well, it should not be surprising.
Yeah, but I just want a definitive answer on that. And I mean, Mike, we don't know. Like I said, he could have meant MSNBC, could have meant USA Today. I mean,
NBC too. Know. Let's make up another station.
I mean, who knows? But I mean, time will tell.
I mean, can't say CW because that's ACC,
right? And who was it? The state schools from the Mountain West announced they're leaving officially, or gave the notice to the Mountain West that they're leaving for the Pac-12, the rebuilding Pac-12, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and Utah State are all leaving the Mountain West. They had to announce it yesterday before June 1st, or they have to pay double penalty. So they're going to the Pac-12 for a 26-27. Houston is now year 3 officially. Big 12 starts, I think, July 1st, fiscal year. So the Cougs will start earning a full share from Big 12 revenue, as opposed to the $19 million they got these first 2 years in the Big 12. So that's a needed boost for them and other new members. The BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston, because the other schools that came from the Pac-12 got a full share automatically when their first year in. All this info is what we provide here on Folks Talking Sports, FTS. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you again, Kim, let me know when you're going to be on Channel 11, and if you're going to be recording one Sunday and you can't make it here on
I think
FTS.
I'm doing something next week with them.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I don't know if that's about the book or if it's about, I don't know if I sent it to you. We're doing an event in June about the Althea Gibson documentary. Zena's kind of spearheading. So we have a panel and we're going to have a discussion about it. We're doing some stuff from McGregor Park. It'll be Zena, Shanda Rubin's going to come in, myself, Kamal, who was the coach of Sloane Stephens when she won the U.S. Open. Mm-hmm. And he's coached some other people too. So we're going to have that conversation. And I think we're talking about it on 11 next week. So probably not next week. I'm glad you said that.
Oh, sure.
And
okay. Well, since you said that,
doing something on Channel 2.
We're going to wrap it up. And if you have anything more to add, I'm going to just give you the big screen. And the floor is yours.
So listen, my book officially launches on June the 9th on Amazon. I'm having my first book signing in Houston on June the 17th. So if you're around, if you're in Houston, I'm going to be posting stuff on my socials. I'll also share it with Kris so he can post it. And I'd love to see it come out, hang out with us. It'll be fun, and pick up the book. But I'll be covering OTAs this week more with the Texans on Tuesday. So follow along. I'll talk about that. And get ready to cover these NBA finals. And of course, Kris, now that you're a baseball fan, we'll be talking baseball too.
Brother Gibson.
Yes, sir.
The floor is yours.
Thank you as always. You can find me on social media. The crawl is there. Will Gibson 7. Will Knows on Will Gibson 7 on X. Will Knows on Facebook, and Will Knows Sports on Instagram. I know we talked last week about OTAs. I was in Cleveland on this past Wednesday. OTAs are also this coming Wednesday, open to the media for the Browns. The Shedeur Sanders watch is on and popping, as they say, and we'll see from there. We'll see what happens. Mandatory minicamp is this weekend, and then get ready for training camp late July.
KP.
Hey, if you want to talk college sports other than basketball or football, more like Women's College World Series or NCAA baseball tournament, I'm here for it. I mean, Oklahoma, even though it's small market and it's flyover country, Midwest, Oklahoma City has kind of been the hot spot, for sports this summer, with the Women's College World Series and, the run to the NBA Finals for the Thunder. So say what you will or may about small markets, Oklahoma City, getting it done.
I want to talk about Nyjah Kennedy.
Yeah.
I can't figure out what happened to my group discussion window. Well, whatever. But Texas Tech, return on investment, well spent. She got them in the semifinals of the College World Series. Any
At
thoughts
one
on that? $1 million
Was it-
player?
1.1 million, was it?
Yeah.
$1,050,024.
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
cents.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Had never made it to the World Series. I mean, Texas Tech. So yeah, she didn't want to. She had every opportunity to join the powerhouse of Oklahoma. She didn't want to. I mean, local Topeka kid, and then of course growing up in Kansas, definitely a Chiefs fan. So when you get Patrick Mahomes to call you from his family vacation
Right.
to encourage you to attend Texas Tech, and then you get the Red Raider Collective to put their money where their mouth is, and you have a coach who will let you return to your roots to hit, and you're not just a specialist, a pitcher, you're a softball player. So it was win-win-win for everybody.
And then Justin, get your question last here. Will Charles and Kenny still be working for college? I think so. I mean, that's kind of like a different part of their different contract for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's same with Kevin Harlan. Kevin Harlan, if he's covering, Kevin Harlan, Jay Billis, Bill Raftery. It's where there is work, they will go.
And that goes for me as well.
Yeah.
Where there is work and you are paying, I will go.
We will show up.
Yes, indeed. And that'll do it for this edition of Folks Talking Sports. Subscribe to the Houston Roundball Review. Thank you, everyone, for taking time out for your comments and questions on this edition, episode 144 of Folks Talking Sports. We'll do it again. Might be just the three of us next Sunday, or see if I can get someone to fill the fourth chair, since Kim will be doing her TV thing and promoting her book for Channel 11. I have other colleagues that I might think about to see if they can join. I might talk to football next week with OTAs, and Brother Gibson can talk Browns and Shador Sanders, and that'll be a good thing going forward for us as well here on Folks Talking Sports. But as always, spread the word about the Houston Roundball Review. Spread the word about Folks Talking Sports. Spread the word about the YouTube channel. Support this show. Senator, if we talk NBA first part of the show, we talked about the finals. And real quick, wrap it up again. Will said Pacers in 6, right?
Yes.
Kim, you said?
I said OKC. I pick them however many games. I'll say 6.
Kennetra, you said OKC in how many games? 5. You said 5. Oh. And I'm saying OKC in 7. So we talk basketball, football, CFP, the Big 12's dropping the ball on marketing and communications, all those good things too. And I'm in a Big 12 city now, so I'm critical. What I see, I experience it firsthand. But as I wrap it up, as I always do, wrapping it up this show, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.
Peace.